So there is this very important book by Syed Abul Nadwi called The Decline of Islam and Its Consequences. It's written originally in Arabic. It has been translated into 18 languages, including Urdu and English. So basically, what he says that the ideas that Islam brought to the world were very powerful. And they dominated the world. After Islam left the central stage, then other ideas came up, and they are now dominating. And these myths, which we have all learned to believe, are very poisonous. They have poisoned our lives, they have poisoned our minds, they have poisoned our ways of thinking. So there are so many myths that it's not possible to go through all of them. But one of the key is materialistic determinism, the idea that materials are responsible for everything that happens. So today we think that basically it comes from the Newton's laws that see every motion has that everything happens mechanically. So once you see the force, there is a mass and then there is force. But there is nothing else. So now as a human being I am 75 kilos, and how much force can I exert in this world? It is millions of tons. So my impact on this world is going to be trivial. No matter what I do, I cannot change the world. As human beings, we are weak, we are powerless, we are enchained in the material circumstances. If I want to change the world, I have to build factories and weapons. And these are myths. But Islam says things which are very different, that every human life is worth, if you take one life, it is as if you have killed the entire humanity. So one human is worth a billions of lives. What does this mean? How can one life be equal to a billion lives? This is in potential. It is not true that every human being is equal to a billion human beings. It is true that every human being has the potential to change the lives of everybody. If you have the vision to do so. क्योंकि नादा चंद कलियों पर अपना कर गया वरना गुलशन में इलाजे तंगिए दामा मिटा नहीं चले इंसान इल्ला मा सआ. So we can do whatever we choose. But today we have chosen to be very simple. We have made very small things our ambition, so we will get very small things. So just like the seed has the potential to become a tree, there is no comparison between the tree and the seed in terms of their volume. So every human being has the potential to change the world. So the materialism principle teaches us that the world consists of mountains and rivers and oceans, and it is shaped by unchangeable realities, forces which are large and outside our control, and our success lies in acquiring these things of this world, the materials. But the nature of the world is that it is a social construct. It comes into being by an agreement. What is Pakistan? Pakistan does not exist except as an idea. If human beings were to be removed from this planet, if we were all to die, no one would know where is Pakistan and where is India. So this Pakistan and India comes into being because we all agree to it. So our ideas are powerful. If suddenly today we decide, all the world, all the human beings, that we are going to forget about divisions between humanity and all human beings are one, and there is only one nation, and it is the sons and daughters of Adam and Hawa, then all nations will disappear just by our collective agreement. Of course, this is idealistic, it cannot happen, but what I am trying to say is that it is the ideas which are powerful, it is not the material. So, one very important insight is that colonization is, in the first instance, the conquest of knowledge. It is not the country which was conquered, it was our minds which were conquered. And we have achieved physical liberation, but mental liberation is not there. We are still slaves of the dominance. Culture and the success comes from reshaping our visions, our ideas about the world. So this is a very different idea about development. Development is the development of character, our spiritual development, our emotional development, our learning how to be a human being. This is what development means in Islam. It has nothing to do with how much money you have. In fact, in all cultures, not just Islamic, the person who had the biggest house was not the one who was admired, the person who had the best character, or he had some accomplishment, he was a literature, or he was a Sufi Buzurg, or he was an alim. These were the people who were admired by the world, not the person who had the maximum amount of wealth, especially if he had gotten this wealth by robbery. This was not a source for admiration. But today, the only thing which is admired is the power and wealth, no matter how you got it. So, history is very important because the world that we live in is not the product of reality, it's the product of what we have been taught about the world. None of us saw Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but we know about these because this has been reported to us. So today the world we live in is actually in our minds. It doesn't exist out there objectively. So there is the myth that history is a collection of facts which cannot be changed. And in order to learn history, we have to memorize thousands of facts. This is wrong. Actually, we are free to choose our history. A very strange idea, but today's history is the history of 7 billion people living on this planet. It is impossible for us to even comprehend this history. So from this 7 billion lives, we will pick 5 or 6 or 10 or 100 and say this is history. So we can choose which 100 we pick. So if we want from Pakistan with crores of people, we can pick the 5 who are excellent and we say, look, this is Pakistan. Or we can pick the 5 who are the worst and we say, this is Pakistan. It is our choice. We are only going to pick 5. We are never going to look at all the crores. So it is our choice whether we choose to be inspired by what Pakistan is today or whether we choose to be depressed or hopeless. And similarly in our history, in Islam, there are shining moments of brilliance and we can say this is our history. And there are moments of very bad behavior and we can say this is our history. It's our choice. We can choose to have an inspiring history or we can choose to have a depressing history. Today the Europeans have chosen for us and we have accepted their choice. They had kings who were extremely bad and they have highlighted the few things that they were good and said we have good kings and we have all accepted, even though all the facts are there that these were barbarians, savages. But they did some things that were good and they said, okay, this is what they were. And similarly our kings had tremendously, they have behaved well, they have behaved badly. And we have chosen the bad things and say our history is terrible. So, one of the Eurocentric myths I have already discussed is that Europe is the creator of everything. Actually, there are schools of world history which have shown how all people, all civilizations participated in the creation of the modern world. So the Incas, the Indians, they were master botanists. They created tomatoes, which now everybody uses from a poisonous plant. They were actually tomato is related to the nightshade, which is still a poisonous plant. And similarly, they created maize, which is corn from and which feeds half the planet today. So that's just one example. The Muslims were responsible for so many inventions, the cataract surgery and many others. Types of cesarean section was invented way back when. Many inventions of Muslims, they are not acknowledged, and Chinese invented gunpowder and printing press and many other things, but nobody knows about these things. So all the human beings have participated in the creation of the world today, but the history that we know says that Europe is everything and non-Europeans are nothing. So, we are told that the Europeans conquered the world because they were rational, they had science, they had whites are superior to the blacks, they were strong, they were courageous, they were inventive, they are honest, they are creative. All of the good qualities are the ones that the white people have. And we have all the opposite qualities. So, the truth about this is that the Europeans rejected Christianity for a lot of good reasons. Christianity was full of superstitions at the time that they got it. Christianity was basically about self-torture. It was Rabbanian. And the priests, they were doing fasts and not washing and many other things. are ridiculous, nothing to do with deen. So when this was presented as deen, they said, well, deen is just superstition. They were right. So when they rejected Christianity, then they had to choose some other religion. So they said, okay, that's naturally, if there is no akhirah, then you have to worship gold and conquest. And then Machiavelli and Nietzsche and their philosophers said that, look, might makes right, everything, power is the only thing that you want. There is no one who is judging you, no one looking over you, so you can do whatever you like. And Machiavelli said that you should lie and deceive people and get power by whatever means, and you should be very ruthless and cruel so that people fear you. And Machiavelli said that, there is this method of love. You can make people obey you because they love you, but that's not a good method. It's too weak. You should make them fear you. That's the right way to govern. So you should torture until everybody should be shaken. So this same technique was tried in Iraq. They said that we are going to use the shock and awe strategy. We are going to use so much power to crush them that their spirits will be defeated. When they say in America, they will fall in Sitla. This was their explicit strategy, and it's still being used. They are using the divide and rule strategy. So people who have analyzed this, very well-known historians, they have said that why did Europeans conquer the world? They said they had a comparative advantage in violence. Nobody else could imagine the amount of cruelty and deception and kind of the lengths to which they could go in order to conquer. Everybody else had rules that we have to be honest, we have to be fair to our opponents. We cannot do anything we like. Everybody else, Islam had very strong rules for warfare from the beginning, because jihad is actually a worship. So there were many very strong rules. You can't kill non-combatants, you can't kill children and women, you can't even burn trees, many other things. These were 1400 years Abubakar wrote these rules down, and in the Geneva Convention they have some of those. So today we have learned that all the wisdom lies in the West, and today we think that the way to progress is to learn from the West. But actually what is true is that they have knowledge of the external world. They have knowledge of the moon and the sun and the stars and the rocket ships. But they have increasingly lost knowledge of the internal world of human beings. What is the spirit? They deny. There is no soul. Human beings don't have any soul. Emotions they disvalue. They say that people should not be emotional. So the heart is taken out of the calculus. Everything should be done by reason. So if you have if you are married but you have a young woman who is more pretty, then logic says that you should throw away your whole family, because commitment, what does it mean? And it sounds like a joke, but this is actually what is taught in what I teach in game theory. That in game theory you teach that if you make a contract, but later on you come to a decision point at which revoking that contract will get you more benefit, then you should do it, because it is rational to look out for your own welfare, and it is rational to ignore any damage that you do to others. That is the meaning of rationality, because there is no heart and no soul and no commitment. So this has led to decline of morality today, because they don't know the nature of the internal nature of human beings. So families have broken up. Today more than half the children in the West are born to single mothers. More than half. They never see the love of their parents. How can a person who has never seen love be able to give love? Because there has been a sharp rise in loneliness, in stress, in suicide, and many other. There is a recent study showing that a particular group, everybody is generally benefiting from health increases and longevity, but there is a particular group of very well-off people whose mortality rates have increased because they are leading, they did some more studies, they are leading meaningless lives. They have nothing to live for anymore. So there's this book by Julie Rubin, making of the modern university, intellectual transformation and the marginalization of morality, in which he studies what happened in the universities in the USA. And she said that in 1920s, if you open the college catalog, you will see that the Harvard catalog and all catalogs say that our job is to build character. We want to create citizens who have responsibility, who understand their responsibility to family, to society, and who are leaders and who have good character. But today, open any catalog, you won't find this. So actually, because of a long and complicated process, this idea of character building was lost from the university syllabus, and as a result, top graduates today kill and enjoy killing, and from childhood they are taught. You play these games where you shoot people and you watch the blood spill out, and you learn how to enjoy this. And so, last year there were 300 mass shootings where just some person picked up the gun and shot up people, and yet the gun lobby is so strong that they do not allow any laws to be passed to ban the guns in the USA. So there is a puzzle that I would like to put forward. What was it in the teachings of Islam that led the ignorant and backwards to world leadership? And does this message have the same power today, or today the message has lost its effectiveness? Is it true that maybe it is not chemistry, physics and biology and mathematics which are the secret to success, as we all believe? We have all sent our children to study these things. We haven't sent them to study what was the secret formula of the rise of Islam. वही चश्मा वफा था जिसे सब सुराग समझे, वही ख्वाब मोतबर थे जो ख्याल तक न पहुंचे. Maybe it is that thing which everybody thinks is an illusion, that is actually the reality. So, the first question in social science is, what is the purpose of life? So today, because the hegemon has defined the purpose of life, it is to earn money, to enjoy life, to eat, drink and be merry, wealth, career, power. These are the purposes of life which have been defined for us, and we are following these purposes. But the Quranic message says something different. It says that لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, that we have created man in the best of forms. So the shape, the potential of man is to rise above the angels. But at the same time, he has the potential to be the worst than beasts. So the task for us in this short lifetime, which only comes once, is to learn how to be a full human being. बस ये मुश्किल है आज भी आदमी को भी वैसे नहीं इंसान बस की मुश्किल है. So this is the thing, that this is the task for which we are created. How can we learn to be human beings? We have the shape of human beings, but if we have the actions of animals, then we cannot claim to that high status. So what is knowledge? This has also been redefined. Today knowledge is that which will help you earn money. Student comes to me every day that what should I study that will give me the what is the degree that will earn the most money? So I try to tell them that look, knowledge purpose is not to earn money. Knowledge is more precious, but students don't believe me. So today we teach in economics that the value of a human life is the amount of money that you earn during that life. So that's why Madeline Albright said 500,000 Iraqi children, how much they will earn? Not enough to compensate for the oil that we can make in profits. So this, on the one hand, you kill 500,000 children because their lifetime earnings won't amount to much. We can make billions of dollars with the oil. So it's a worthwhile bargain. So what are the first steps to change? Well, basically Islam created a revolution, and today we have the opportunity, the potential, the possibility to create the same revolution. The first step is to emulate our Prophet, the mercy to all nations, Rahmatul Alameen. So one of the things that the Quran says is that his heart was full of compassion for others, that he suffered the pain of everybody, including the Quran says that, will you kill yourself with sorrow if they do not believe? So his heart was full of sorrow for even the kuffar, not just the Muslims. And so much sorrow that he was on the verge of killing himself. Allah Ta'ala has to console him. So this is the thing that दर्द दिल के लिए पैदा किया इंसान को. So the second step is to create this love in our hearts on the pattern of our heart. To love all human beings, whether as there is a hadith that the creation of God is the family of God. So if we serve the creation, then we will bring them closer to God. Ummah is like one body. The Quran says that remain united, do not break up into sects. And the communities which are the cells of the Islamic society, they are based on strong families, good neighborhood, good work relationships. These are all part of Islamic teaching, that how you have to take care of your neighbors, how if there is someone hungry within 40 days or houses of you, then your worship will not be accepted. So once you understand that, you see that today's the message, the dominant message is that of individualism. Your life is about your enjoyment and you don't care. If you walk into the restaurant, if the waiter is sick, if he doesn't have medicine to give his child, that's not your problem. Your job is to enjoy your meal. You spend 10,000 rupees for your meal in Serena, and you don't care if the person doesn't have enough money to buy medicine for his mother. That is what we are trained to be like. Now, Islam teaches us that if there is anyone hungry in Pakistan, it is my responsibility. This is the collective social responsibility. So, inequality, now Islam is a very special understanding of inequality. Inequality is not just inequality in wealth. Actually, it's inequality opportunity. Every child should have equal opportunities, the same education system. All children of Pakistan are our children. They are mine and your responsibility. And if we cannot give them the best education, we can at least give them our love. That's free. Then open our hearts. This is what Islam teaches. And if we do that, all other things will come naturally. But we have been taught to hate each other. We have been divided. The Shia hates the Sunni and the Wahhabi hates the Barelvi. These are all divisions, and we can document that these were done, and leaders were created, and they were given the task to hate each other. And we are very good students. So, in business, again, our paradigm is the opposite of what is being taught at Harvard today. At Harvard today, they are teaching that you provide service in order to make money. Islam teaches us that we make money in order to provide service. Our goal is to provide service, but obviously if we start giving things away, then we cannot do this in a sustainable way. So we earn money, we live, Islam is not Rahbaniyan, we live comfortably so that we can feel happy about providing service. But the goal is to provide service. That is why the trader will stand with the Siddiqeen and the Sulaha and the Shahideen. In finance, our central institution throughout history was not banks but waqf. That's where the excess money went in order to provide service to the society. In the Ottoman Empire, 1/3 of the land that was registered as waqf, which was providing service to infants and orphans and widows and taking care of education and health. There was never any concept that a child had to pay for his education. If a child wants ill, then it's the responsibility of everybody else to make sure that he has the opportunity to learn. Similarly, the concept of paying for health, for medical treatment did not exist. So, uh, the human development paradigm, which is now coming into more focus, developed by Abul and carried forward by Amartya Sen, says that development is not about acquisition of wealth, it is about making human beings develop, which is the original Islamic idea. So today, the biggest chains are the ones that are on our thoughts. They are not the chains, the material resources we have much more than enough. After the World War II, Japan was a country which had no resources compared to ours, and they became the leaders in terms of wealth. So, resources are not our constraint to development, but the mental chains are the. If you look at Turkey and Japan, after the World War II, both were at zero, both were the losers. After the World War II, Ataturk came and he said that to the Turks that you have to dress like the Europeans, you have to learn how to dance like them. He created the theatre, and you have to learn to play their music. And so he created institutions for music and for translating all the novels of the European culture into Turkish. So you can find all novels. The Japanese, they sent their students to learn mathematics and engineering. They translated all the books of technology, and they reached somewhere, and Turkey reached somewhere else. So today, our concepts of development have been shaped by wrong ideas, and what we need to do is to rethink what is knowledge, what is development, and many other myths. So one very key problem that arises is that when you go out to make change, you say, I am all alone and the whole world is against me. So again, Islam redefines the meaning of success. Success does not lie in changing the world, success lies in changing yourself. And if you try, you have already succeeded. If you are on the side of the good, it doesn't matter whether you are shaheed or whether you are ghazi. So the last thing that I would say is that there was this story of this bulbul, who was carrying a drop of water in its beak to put out the fire that was burning Ibrahim alayhi salam. And so the other bird said, are you crazy? You are trying to do something which is impossible. You have just one drop of water. Have you seen how big that fire is? So the bird said that on the day of judgment, when Allah Ta'ala asked me that when my friend was burning, what were you doing? I will say that I was doing what was in my power to do. So this is what Islam teaches us. And if every drop of rain decides that even though I am nothing, I will fall and give my all in order to make the earth wet, then the whole earth will be made wet. So that's there.